How have you been? It's been a while. Can you believe it's been a year since we did?
I cannot. And especially the longest year that man has ever created. It's unbelievable. In January, we thought, oh, look what we did at Christmas. February, even, oh, okay. And then March.
I know. It's so crazy.
And today's date is March the 612th. That's how long this year has been. It's unbelievable. March has been a very long month.
Yes, it has been. But
it's Christmas, and I think we should be celebrating.
And let's go back just for a minute, just to remember that night. Like, how crazy was it to be on the stage at the Albert Hall during the Christmas holiday?
You said, hey, you want to do this thing? I've got this thing in London at Albert Hall. You want to be a part of it? Maybe you'll host? I didn't know what you were talking about. I had no idea. And nothing occurred to me until we got to Albert Hall and all these people were going to be performing. And I go, we've got to be more organized. I said I had like 3 lines. I'm going to be a host. I had an introduction, but I had to host 2.5 hours of entertainment.
Yeah, that's not my style. We just off the cuff. That's what I like.
I know, but the thing is, Michael, when you do music, it's all there. It's all written. You're not doing jazz.
I know everything I do is has to be precisely prepared, and so I think when I get a chance to just do something that I don't have to plan, I love that. So like
I understand, but I'm the host. I had to plan. I had to figure out what do I say when these people come on? Do I just go, look who's going to sing next? Look who's going to dance next? I don't do that. But you just go, oh, don't worry, it'll all work out. It'll all work out. Well, it did all work out. It was fantastic.
We had a blast.
It was fantastic. Yeah, it was great.
Man. I would love to. I really wish we were doing that again this year.
What I wouldn't give.
I don't know. Those memories are like some of the most incredible memories I've ever had. Well, and then to meet Itchy Teeth.
Well, they're so good, but they knew what they were going to do, although they were charming and funny and wonderful. And so I guess they were messing around too.
And they did an incredible job with the video, the band Itchy Teeth. We sent them a camera and a cameraman, and they just ran around town doing all this crazy stuff. And it was so perfect for the feeling and the emotion of the song that I just can't believe you haven't seen it yet. So
I haven't seen it. It came out okay?
Yeah, it came out great. Why don't we get the whole gang in, and then we can all watch it together.
Are they here?
Yeah, they're here. Surprise.
Oh, so nice to see you.
And wearing the same clothes that they wore in the video. They haven't changed since they
never took it off, as a matter of fact. That's how much they liked the night. They just enjoyed it. Even during the summer months, he wore a sweater.
All right, everyone. What do you say? Let's watch that video.
What you want for Christmas, didn't know it'd be this tough. Nothing I can buy would say enough. Every time that you're around me, I'm a kid on Christmas Eve, even though the feeling ceases when you leave. But if I write a song, we'd have the whole year long to keep the feeling of being this year the Christmas #1 is for the only one I love. It's all for you, you're #1. If you hear me, when you're near me, you know this Christmas #1. We'll keep on singing when it's done. So here's the Christmas #1. If you hear me, when you're near me. You'll be out of town for Christmas. Don't know if I'll make it to. Maybe there's a way to get to you. Late at night the city's sleeping and the air is still as stone, but I'm up and thinking all alone. If on the radio I can convey the old cold wintry feeling of missing
Hello, everyone. My name is Rudy Mancuso, and I'm so excited to be your host today for today's Holiday Hangout presented in conjunction with Mondo. We're celebrating the recent song release of Christmas #1. Awesome track, perfect for the holidays, so catchy, so incredible. And I'm here with some of the team members who actually brought it to life. We're going to start with the co-songwriters. Very first up is Elyssa Samsel. Give us a wave, Elyssa. We got Kate Anderson. Next, we have the arranger and producer, the talented John Robert Wood. Next, from Itchy Teeth, the amazing, talented UK-based band that performed the track and helped bring it to life, we have Zev Clark. Charlie Hanna, and Ali Booker. Next, we have my friend, composer and songwriter, el maestro Michael Giacchino. Finally, another holiday favorite, we have the one and only Hollywood icon, Richard Kind.
I have to take exception about something.
What? What's wrong?
I don't know whether icon, and I certainly don't know whether Hollywood, because I'm in New York now and there's snow here. And that's what I like at Christmas. Snow.
Yeah, I would agree with you on the icon thing. It's a little iffy. Yeah, I think it's iffy. But, but hey, let's go with it. It's Christmas. Why not?
All right.
That's
All right, that's a good.
All right, guys, I'm going to kick it off with my first question for everybody here. Starting with you, Richard. What would you say is one of your favorite Christmas or holiday memories?
Well, my dad was a retail jeweler in Princeton, New Jersey. So between Thanksgiving and Christmas, I never saw my dad. But I remember the relief when Christmas Eve came at 5 o'clock, because my dad made 50% of his year earnings during those 3 to 4 weeks. And he would lock the door, and the whole crew would have eggnog, and then we would all go to the governor of New Jersey's house, and the governor would read a Christmas carol to all the kids sitting he had a big chair, and we were all on the floor, and he read a Christmas carol, and that's what I remember.
That's going to be a hard one to beat. But how about you, Michael? Any memories stick out?
Yeah, I remember one year, it was just after Star Wars came out. And, I remember going downstairs, and under the tree was this, and actually it's right here in my cabinet behind me, but it was an envelope, because when Star Wars came out, they didn't realize it was going to be as popular as it was. So they didn't really have a plan to make the toys to sell that Christmas. So instead, what they did was they sent out an envelope, which was basically something that you mailed in, and then you would get the toys, months later when they were ready. So even though it was just an envelope, it wasn't even a toy, but it was just this long envelope, and it had all the characters on it. You got to see what they would look like and all of that. I remember seeing that there under the tree and thinking that this was the greatest Christmas ever, because I was obsessed with Star Wars at that time.
We got Star Wars and the governor of New Jersey. Fantastic. Let's jump over to Elyssa Samsel.
A lot of my favorite memories have to do with being on the East Coast and snow. And I think there was this one Christmas where it felt like I wished for snow for Christmas and I got it. And then my brother and I built this giant igloo. And because we were kids growing up in the 90s, we had a kidnapping exit out of the igloo, because that's what all kids thought about in the 90s. Such a great Christmas. And I escaped from any dangers, and I'm still here today.
There was no kidnapping.
Nope.
I'm glad to hear it.
Just snow.
My favorite Christmas memory, I feel lucky because I have so many. There was a year where my family had been on a trip, and my twin sister and I were, I think, 9 years old, and we came home from the trip on Christmas Eve, and we, instead of going straight home, we went to this church service kind of far away from our house, where they had a live nativity. And so by the time we got home, all the presents were under the tree because Santa had already come. And I guess he hit my house. We were on the early schedule. He somehow knew we were on this trip or something. And it was just super, super magical.
Yeah, he's sneaky, that Santa, huh?
Sneaky.
Let's jump over to Europe, shall we? How about you, Zav? What do you got for us?
Well, I'm going to be a disappointment now because Michael stole my Star Wars thunder. Oh no.
No,
Oh
use
no.
it. Use it. Use it. Let's hear your
Use
Star
it.
Wars. Let's hear
We're
your
gonna
Star
roll
Wars.
with it.
Come on. Let's hear it.
Okay. So I remember one Christmas, I went to bed on Christmas Eve and I was so desperate for snow. And I woke up in the morning, looked out the window. Oh, damn it, it's Britain. There's no snow. There never really is much. Occasionally, but it's not going to happen on Christmas. And then I walked down the stairs and on the TV was just The Empire Strikes Back. Like, imagine that. First time I'd ever seen it. And it was the snow, the Battle of Hoth, you know? And I was like, Dad, what's this? And he was like, oh, it's Star Wars. And there it was. My Christmas snow and my love of Star Wars all started at the same time.
That's great.
All
I love
right.
that.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
How about you, Charlie?
One time I remember, I must have been very young, but I was still in the middle of the night and I found my stocking was full and I found Sonic the Hedgehog. And I was just very happy. I was obsessed with Sonic at the time, a teddy bear of Sonic. And then I looked down the bunk below, which is where my younger brother was sleeping. And he opened his up and he had Tails. And that's always the way it went in our family. I got Sonic, he got Tails. I was Batman, he was Robin. It paid to be the older sibling.
Now, Father Christmas to you guys is equivalent to our Santa.
Yeah.
Oh wow, way more romantic than our version.
But it's funny, we all call him Father Christmas, but in all the songs, he's called Santa Claus. So it's confusing when you tell, like, I'm telling my son, it's like, oh, Father Christmas, but also Santa Claus and Saint Nick.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to rhyme Christmas. It's easier to rhyme Santa or Claus.
Yeah.
So they use those lyrics.
Yeah. Maybe that's the next Christmas song that we write, is one with Father Christmas in it.
Yeah.
All right.
Do that.
Well,
that sounds good.
That sounds good. I'll take that 10%. Ollie, how about you, my man?
I'd have to say my favorite Christmas memory was like every Boxing Day. Me and all my family always go to Worcester, like West England. That's where most of my family are from over there. And we bring our dog. We once brought our dog, and as we were all just like gearing up, getting ready for the big Christmas feast, there's like set like food for 17 of us. Like we all went in there, and then we looked, and there was no turkey. The turkey was gone, and then we found out that our dog had eaten the whole thing. And ever since then, he's basically been barred from my nan's house. So yeah.
You're not feeding this dog, or what's the story there?
No. He is. He just loves to eat anything. Eating the entire of your beautiful house you got there as well.
All right. Well, last but certainly not least, John, what's your memory, my man?
Mine is a bit of a sad one to bring everything down. It was the year I ruined Christmas because I couldn't stop myself from peeking. All the presents were under the tree, and I very carefully peeled back the tape on all of them. So by the time Christmas rolled around, I knew exactly what I was getting was ruined.
What was
Wow.
A classic.
You got on the naughty list that year.
Yeah, I should have been.
Well, I don't know how I top those stories, but a little anecdote for myself. I'm Richard. I'm also a Jersey boy. Montclair, New Jersey is where I grew up. So I'm in this small town in New Jersey. For those of you who don't know, I have a Brazilian mother and an Italian father who are extremely traditional and straight off the boat. And at the time, the word vegan still isn't in their vocabulary. And one of my cousins who came over for Christmas dinner, about a decade ago, was a hardcore vegan. That was his dietary choice and restriction, and he didn't eat anything that had animal products. My mother didn't understand this concept, so she said, "Okay, it's fine. Like I have this pasta alla tuna. It's vegan. It's like vegan." And he's like, "Tuna as in the fish?" She was like, "Yeah, but it's still vegan. It's nice fish. It's nice." He's like, "No, I can't do that." Then after that, she's like, "Okay, fine. We have a vegan turkey." He's like, "Oh, it's vegan, like tofu." And she's like, "No, it's, the animal, but it's nice turkey. So it's vegan. It's vegan." And this went on and on and on. Broke up with my cousin because of that. So it turned into this huge argument. And at the time it wasn't great, but looking back at it, quite hilarious. So if any of you are vegan, don't come over. So many incredible Christmas holiday songs like the one we just heard, thanks to you guys. Of all the classic holiday tunes, Richard, question for you. What's your favorite?
This is the most boring answer you'll ever hear in your life.
Let's hear it.
I love Silent Night. I think Silent Night is just beautiful. And I'll sing it walking down the street, and I will be so into it, and I'll be crying. I just think it's beautiful. I think the second verse is glorious, and we rarely hear it. And I know there are so many classic new ones and everything like that, but I love it. I love the history, the story that the organ had broken at the church, and they needed a song, and that's how it was created. The whole history behind it, and that it's withstood all these years. I think it's the best. It's the best. So beautiful.
Well, we look forward to seeing you walking around singing and crying. We won't call that.
Oh yeah, you just want to see me. Well, the most beautiful thing is that the other night it snowed and snowed and snowed, and I'm walking down the street. First of all, New York is empty, but it's really empty when it snows, and I'm in the middle of the street walking around at 2 a.m. singing that song. And that's a sight. But in New York, they never question it, actually. So, it's the norm.
It's normal for people to just cry to themselves in the street, right?
Yes, singing and crying in the streets. That's what New York is all about.
Yes, it is.
It truly is. Singing and crying in the streets.
Favorite holiday songs. Charlie, what would you say your favorite is?
Well, I like all the classics, really, like your Wham, the Mariah Carey, Chris Rea, but I thought I'd go in obscure because, everyone's going to say the same ones otherwise. One of my favorite bands is called XTC, a band from Swindon, and they have a little-known Christmas song called Thanks for Christmas. I would recommend checking it out to anyone. I don't think it's even on Spotify, but it's on YouTube. Thanks for Christmas. One of the strangest chord structures in the middle eight, but a very poppy song nonetheless, and uplifting.
Kate, favorite holiday song?
Actually, Richard made me think of something, and that's that in addition to singing Silent Night every year growing up with my choir, we would sing the Hallelujah chorus, or actually we would do the whole Christmas portion of the Messiah. So I'm going to actually say it's the Hallelujah chorus because I used to do it. They would invite families to do it. So my dad would sing it with us every year. And it always kind of just meant that Christmas was here because we would do it right at the beginning of December, and it just felt like, oh wow, okay, this is it now. We're getting close. So it's a good memory.
I'm sure you still know how to sing it.
I do.
I'm not going to ask you to.
Alto line.
All right. Well, maybe we can hear that one day.
Maybe.
John, what do you got for us?
Our Christmas playlist is always the same. It's always Mariah Carey, Baby It's Cold Outside, and Slade, the Slade. I don't know if it was Slade a bit a hit in the US. I don't know if it was. Anyway, I've got a soft spot for the Slade song. But my favorite I have two favorites. The Greg Lake song, I Believe in Father Christmas, which has that lovely, Elyssa will correct me. Is it Prokofiev or Tchaikovsky? I think it's Prokofiev. Anyway, it's a beautiful song. And the Jethro Tull, Solstice Bells. I don't actually know what it's called, but that song, I like those. Those are my favorite songs. Christmas songs.
All right. God, these are
pulling out Jethro Tull. Nice.
Let's jump over to Ollie.
I'm going to actually jump on the choir wagon as well, because Kate, that you're in the choir. I'm also in a choir, but I'm a bass, but not an alto. But yeah. But one of the songs that we do is "Oh Holy Night," and it's just like ever since singing that with a 4-piece arrangement, it was amazing. It was epic. Like I'm part of this, like 400 of us in our choir. Never sort of being
400.
Yeah, it's a very big choir. We make up the audience as well as the choir. So it's great. But, So ever since being part of that and singing that's sort of become my favorite holiday song. Oh Holy Night.
All right, fantastic. Elyssa, favorite holiday song?
Oh, this is so fun getting to hear what everybody loves to listen to over Christmas, and the obscure ones are so cool. So I was thinking of something that is not in the mainstream, and it's from a movie that I love and I watch every year. It's Scrooge, but it's the 1970 version that Albert Finney is in. And all the songs are tremendous. And I grew up listening to them and watching them with my family. So they all are very nostalgic. But there's one that's just so upbeat and fun. It's called December the 25th. And I just love it so much.
What about you, Mike?
Me? I like, mine is not a song, it's an album. And it's John Denver and the Muppets, A Christmas Together. I just I'm obsessed with the Muppets. I love them. They were a huge part of my childhood growing up, and that record in particular is worn out from being played over and over and over on my record player back home where I grew up. So, and that's also what got me to, want Kermit the Frog to be a part of our Christmas show at the Royal Albert Hall, was that album, and I still have hopes and dreams to actually perform that whole thing live one day. That would be fun. So yeah, that whole album is just incredible. John Denver was amazing.
All right, Zab, favorite holiday song?
Ooh, yeah. Well, favorite holiday album, I'm just going to dodge the question, sidetrack it. Favorite holiday album is the Beach Boys' Christmas album. Oh, nothing feels like Christmas Day like hearing that first few chords of Little Saint Nick drumming up and down. Love it. I really love the Flaming Lips song, A Change at Christmas. It's like an obscure B-side, and it would definitely bring your Christmas Day down if you just put it on when everyone wanted to have a good time. But it's pretty existential. And I like the concept of it, that like everyone shows their best side at Christmas, and it's amazing just for this one moment. But then after that, everybody goes back to being the way they were before again. It's kind of this thing about which is the true side of humanity. Is it the Christmas side where we're all really good to each other, or is it the cynical side? And it's kind of something the Flaming Lips could only dream up, and it's just a really great song. Yeah.
All right. Wow, that was a very in-depth, insightful answer. But my answer's a little bit more basic than that. I got to go with the Christmas song, Nat King Cole. It just makes me feel pretty great. And I particularly remember, and catch me if you can, when there's a scene where that's played at a very tragic moment. With Frank Abagnale trying to reach his mother for Christmas, and he can't quite get there. And it's a really nice break from John Williams' score, and that always resonated with me because that's a Catch Me If You Can is a holiday favorite for my family. All right, and this is more so for Michael and the band. Mike, can you walk us through how you came up with this idea, and especially of using the vintage family footage for the music video? I mean, it felt so nostalgic and warm and fun and painless. How'd you think of this, and how'd you pull it off?
Well, my original idea was to do a stop motion video, but that would have been kind of impossible and taken forever to do. But I thought it would have been fun, like the old Christmas, specials that I grew up with. But I obviously am a huge fan of home movies. I still shoot Super 8 film now today. And I just love, there's something about Super 8 footage that just feels nostalgic the second you're looking at it. And part of it is because there's no sound to it, or there is this grain it looks like an old photograph. And I thought it would be fun to sort of mix old home Christmas movies with images of the band running around and having some fun and just playing. And, it was hard. We were all sort of in lockdown at the time, so it wasn't quite wasn't easy to do. So I had to we sent them a camera, we sent them a cameraman, and they just went out into the world, right? I mean, you guys just went out and did your thing, and it was a blast. And it blended so nicely with the Super 8 footage of everyone's home movies, which was really crazy to see. And I don't know, how did you guys, first of all, I'm a huge fan of the Monkees. So what you did in that video really just like warmed my heart, because it just felt like an old school Monkees video. So tell me, I mean, do you guys know the Monkees? Are you fans of that, or are you just naturally that silly?
Yeah, I think we love the Monkees and the Beatles, and I think when we approached that video with the reference point of early Beatles, sort of Hard Day's Night and Monkees in our heads. But also, it's one thing I've noticed when I look back at it, it looks like we're looking at this camera like we've never seen one before. Like we have cameras on our phones and everything, but we look like the Beatles when they're seeing a camera and obviously acting up to it. But then I realized it's because we've never used a Super 8 before. So it's this idea that what they're filming that's the only thing. So we're all like acting up 150% of our normal energy, because it's like, you got to go crazy because it's this one shot.
Well, I can't believe you jumped in the water. Was it freezing? Like, what was going on with that? Like, that shocked me, actually. When I was reviewing the footage, I was like, oh my God, they're nuts.
For some reason, every music video we do, these guys always have the idea to jump in some kind of cold water, or there's always a bath involved or something. There's always something with partial nudity and cold water with itchy teeth. I don't know why. But yeah.
Our videos are always filled with pain. Like they're so painful to make. That was the most painless one. One little dip in the cold sea was fine.
Really?
Usually with the wet bandits, but on this occasion, it's
The editing and the look of it was very, very seamless and it feels effortless, although it sounds like it wasn't that effortless. Was it self-directed? Did you have someone, because it doesn't sound like you had a director there on set, it was just you guys and a cameraman.
Yeah, like that was what was so cool about this really was like, and the whole way through the project with recording the song and everything, it's just been the amount of trust and spontaneity that's been going around among this group of people. Because, well, I can't believe that we were lucky enough that, first of all, we got, handed such an amazing song to perform just kind of without really, there was a lot of trust involved in that. And then also to be able to just kind of direct the video the way we wanted it.
This leads me to my next question. I would love to go around and talk about how each of you got involved in this project, which you touched on a little bit already, but also what your favorite part about this was. So how'd you get involved with this project and what was your favorite part of the experience? Let's start with you, Saf.
Well, we met everybody at the Royal Albert Hall last year because we were involved in a film called Yesterday with Himesh Patel. And we were basically kind of performing Beatles songs in that film. And then I'm not sure exactly how it unfolded, but some emails were sent, I believe. And then we kind of ended up at Michael's Royal Albert variety show, performing this song and also performing like the John and Yoko Christmas song. And it was just so much fun. And then it turned into those, shall we do it kind of things. And then it just steamrolled from there, really. And like that.
So cool. What about you, Kate?
Elyssa and I met Michael back in 2017. We'd been working on a Disney project and we all met at the big Disney conference, D23. And we were huge fans of Michael and we ended up, like, by the grace of God, he liked us and we became friends. And which I'm still not exactly sure how that happened. But we had a like-mindedness and a love of a lot of the same things. And we kind of just talked about like, oh, maybe someday we'll work on something together. And when he was planning his Royal Albert Hall concert, he said, hey, like, what if we wrote a Christmas song? We could do it at the concert in London. And Elyssa and I pinched ourselves again and put our heads together, and we all started thinking of what would be a fun thing to write about. Michael had this great idea to sort of riff on the Christmas #1 contest that happens every year in the UK.
I don't know about this contest.
Yeah, well, Michael, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, I think maybe a proper someone from the UK could give us real insight on that.
Yeah, definitely.
Christmas
there's
#1.
always the Christmas #1. Yeah, every year, right? I mean, because it charts. Yeah.
We can always remember. I can remember a lot of the Christmas #1s are. It's a big contest that every year, and it was always really like, oh, who's going to be Christmas #1? But then of recent years, it's just become like, who's Simon Cowell championing?
So it could be anything, right? But I've even heard like stories about teachers who just wrote a song and it's on the internet and people like it and suddenly it's playing everywhere and then that's in the competition as well. And even though it's not like a serious sanctioned competition, so to speak, it's more about just what ends up landing in that spot on that day, right?
Yeah, it can be. And people can also, as Charles was saying, like they kind of push the most ridiculous choice to be #1 because I think that's just a really funny thing to do. Yeah, and there's been quite a few of those, isn't there?
And that's what inspired the title for this piece.
Yeah, I just thought, wouldn't it be funny to write a Christmas #1 and literally call it Christmas #1 and just see what happens. And looking back on it, it's I think the song has sort of taken on a whole new meaning after this year. And when you look at it, and that was part of the thought of the home movies too in the video, was just sort of like this idea that you want to be with the one you want to be with. You want to be with your Christmas #1. That could be your family, your friends, your wife, your husband, anything, and I think we're all kind of feeling that this year. We're all missing the people we want to be with. And so when you listen to the song and you watch the video, it really kind of hits you in a different way than I think any of us had expected it would.
Absolutely true. Elyssa, anything to add about this project as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, as Michael just sort of summed it up, the song really began to take on a new meaning this year. And it's interesting because when we were first writing it, you know, we knew Michael was going to be away for Christmas, and he's been such a great friend for us. So that lyric, you'll be out of town for Christmas, don't know if I'll make it too, maybe there's a way to get to you, it in the moment when we weren't in London, but they were doing the song, it was sort of like we could be together through the song, and the song was like linking us all. And then this year, getting to record it with Itchy Teeth and John arranging it, it was another way for everybody to kind of be together, even though we couldn't actually be together this year. So it's really kind of cool the way that it's morphed and still resonates with, you know, with that feeling of just wanting to be with the people that you love. And I like that the song can do that for people now.
But this is the first time every single one of you here right now has collaborated on a project together.
Yeah, it's the first time, all of us together, and hopefully it won't be the last. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, let's
now
keep them coming.
In the same way that, you know, we were like, hey, wouldn't it be fun if we did this Christmas #1 song? Now the conversations are, well, wouldn't it be fun if we just did a whole Christmas album together? That'd be great. Let's do that. You know?
That'd be good.
So, you know, who knows what comes next?
So John, you brought this thing to life, the arrangement, you essentially birthed it. What do you have to say?
That's very flattering. My job, I always thought my job in this instance is just basically to take credit for everybody else's talent, because I just sort of put my little spin on it, and then let everybody else run with it. And but I was in the middle of another unrelated project with Michael, and I'm like, how do you feel about doing a Christmas song? And I was like, yeah, that's right in the middle of this crazy lockdown year. That sounds like a blast. So and they sent me just a piano vocal demo of the song, and I just sort of went away and cooked my weird little soup, and then got together with the guys. We had a day in the studio, like, you know, this joyous day of actually, you know, doing that thing we never thought we'd be able to do again, you know, collaborating live in the studio the way it should be done. That was for me, that was the best part of the experience, really, just spending the day in the studio with these three guys. Well,
something beautiful came out of it, so thank you. All right, we're gonna move on to the last question for you guys, okay? And this is particularly for my British friends here. Is there anything in the UK that you do for the holidays that's distinctly British, and vice versa for the Americans? But Ollie, is there anything that you guys do there in the UK that's very specific to British culture?
I don't know if it's very specific for British people, but I mean, we do normally have a Jägermeister for breakfast. I don't know if that's a very UK thing. But yeah, I mean, most people probably have champagne and maybe a bit of salmon or something, but we have Jägermeister and a fry-up. That's what we do in our house.
For breakfast?
For breakfast, why not? And then you're asleep by lunchtime. It's great.
Well, that's a normal day. What about Christmas?
Yeah, that's us.
What about the rest of the British guys on here? Do you have anything to add to that?
Well, one thing I wonder about is because you guys have Thanksgiving as well, don't you? Is that like, that's just like a couple of months before, right?
Yeah, it's like a trailer for Christmas.
Yeah.
But you do. we get mixed messages here. I swear sometimes in some films they're trying to race home for Thanksgiving, and sometimes it's Christmas, and I can never remember which films have which one because they both seem to have a similar impact.
Planes, Trains and Automobiles is Thanksgiving. That's
is that Thanksgiving? Do you get presents?
Home Alone is Christmas.
Yeah, no presents on Thanksgiving. Just just tons of food.
Okay, yeah.
Which is quintessential American to have tons of food.
Well, one thing that we have in our house as part of the Christmas lunch, we had these things called raspings, and there's basically like breadcrumbs kind of fried in butter, and they go on the top like that. It's kind of like if you breathe it in, it can choke, so you have to make sure there's lots of gravy on it, but it's delicious. And also bread sauce. So these are bread sauce and raspings.
Wow.
I don't know if you guys have those things, but like they're certainly quite indulgent and stodgy, which is, you know, my favorite type of food.
You love dodgy food, huh?
No, stodgy.
Oh, stodgy.
Stodgy.
Well, that sounds delicious. I've never had it. Have you guys ever had it? Michael, Elyssa?
No,
Kate?
I've never had that, but it sounds amazing. Anything cooked in a ton of butter, I'm sure is great. So
yeah. What else can you guys make out of bread? It sounds like
Yeah.
Bread and butter.
Probably
pudding.
from the time when people couldn't afford meat or something, so they had to have stuff to bulk out the meal.
Right.
There's also like, so I'm from a place called Dorset, and also made out of bread here is a speciality of the region called the Dorset knob, which is like, not particularly festive, but just in general. And it's leftover old bread, and then they kind of dry it out over a few months, and then it's just like this really hard little bit, and you can sort of like break it apart and have it with a bit of cheese or something. It's really nice, but a very humorous name.
So it's like stale bread.
Stale bread, baby. You would have done it.
I know in our family we have a tradition on Christmas where we all make raviolis together. So there's a lot of pasta in my house growing up, but raviolis, we do that every year, usually with my mom at the lead, and then everyone takes turns helping to make a bunch of them and put them in the thing, and it's quite a mess, but it's also amazing. It's such a fun thing to do, so I'll miss that this year.
That's as Italian as it gets, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we have a tradition in my family every year where we argue.
Yeah, we have that too. We do the same thing.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Okay, Elyssa, what about you guys?
I feel like I've only done this a few times, but I feel like it's a thing in America that a lot of people go to the movies on Christmas Day. In some cases, in my family, it was to get some people out of the house because everybody had reached their limit of togetherness.
Yeah, that rises to the top pretty quick.
But yeah, movies and Chinese food, I think, are American pastimes.
That is very American. I think because we all watched that movie too much, right? A Christmas Story. Is that the one?
Yes.
Yeah. That's a very American thing.
I love that movie.
Let's all watch it right now. Can we play that?
On A Christmas Story.
Yeah.
Keep
your eye out.
I don't know it.
Yeah, they play it on loop. I mean, there's a whole day of them just playing it. It's very, very, I don't know why it's very symbolic.
It's a very quintessential, like, American, I feel like 1950s, like, baby boomer movie.
Oh, wow.
It reminds everybody of, like, being a kid. Yeah,
Actually, now I'm curious. This isn't one of our questions, but now I'm curious. I want to go around. Everyone name your favorite holiday movie. It doesn't even have to be holiday themed, but a film that you watch on the holidays. Mike, start with you.
Well, it's more of a TV show, actually. It's a Christmas special of Rudolph.
Rankin and Bass?
Yeah, come on.
Rankin and Bass's, him and Maury Laws wrote the music for those, which are just incredible. And I just love all of those specials, but Rudolph especially is the best. Bumbles Bounce. That's the best. I just love it so much. So yeah, it's my favorite. I watch it every year without fail.
What about you, Zav?
Oh man, it's so hard to say. Like, there's so many funny ones. It's not actually a Christmas one, but in my family, we'd always probably every year watch "It's a Mad, 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 Mad World."
Love that movie.
Yeah, man, and just scream the house down with laughter. And yeah, so that's probably my favorite. That reminds me of Christmas the most. Yeah.
All right, good one. Ollie, what about you?
There's actually one that Charlie mentioned earlier, but it's Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. It's a Thanksgiving one. I love that one. Yeah, I mean, that's probably my favorite movie of all time. Steve Martin, John Candy, love them two guys. Hilarious.
What about you, Elyssa?
I was going to say Rudolph, but Michael took it. So he can have it. He can have it. But I also love It's a Wonderful Life. I have to watch that every year because just, you got to get the cathartic cry going,
Which is easy this
Kate?
year.
I'm a Muppet
about you,
Christmas
Kate?
Carol girl.
Mm.
Muppet Christmas Carol, best songs. Yeah, incredible movie. So good.
I watched that the other day again. It's so good.
It's so
The one
good.
that's like, wherever you find love, it feels like Christmas. So good, man.
Being of a sweet corner. So good.
Charlie, what are we watching this year?
Well, this thing we used to always watch every Christmas Eve. My dad had taped it off the the telly, so I don't think he cut off the credits. So I never knew what it was called. I never knew I was going to be able to find it again. It's about a 10 minute thing of Father Christmas coming down and putting presents everywhere, and basically all the toys come out of his sack, and kind of they build the Christmas tree, and it's this old Disney thing, and it's amazing. But I found it on YouTube. I was just looking up stuff to show my son, and it's called something like Silly Symphonies or something like that, and it's just wonderful. Like the music's gorgeous, the animation is so it's just lovely and intricate and funny, and I just remind the music in it. I've heard it I've heard it probably about 30 times and every year, and it's just so nostalgic for me. And showing my son it was just yeah.
Well, last but not least, John, what are we going to watch this year?
Well, you talk about A Christmas Story being on loop. Over here, it's The Sound of Music. That's something you can never seem to get away from. But I always loved Oliver. It's not particularly Christmassy, but it's always on at Christmas, and that's such a wonderful.
And it had some of the best songs of any musical. Oliver is just incredible.
The fam and I typically go to the classic Home Alone or Elf or The Godfather.
Godfather's such a good Christmas movie.
Right?
Heartwarming.
I always bring that up to my dad. I think this isn't necessarily a holiday themed or vibe, and he's like, "You guys like gifts, right? This movie's a gift. Sit down. Shut up."
That was fantastic, and it reminds me of where we were last year, because I was dancing and singing that song along with the whole audience with confetti coming down. It was fantastic. But I want to sing it now. How do I find out how to access that song whenever I want?
Oh, that's easy. Death Waltz Records. Put it out with Mondo, and you can go to mondoshop.com. There it is. You get this whole, come on, and look, check this out. Look at the record itself. It's green or white. There's all different colors. You can get them, but you've mondoshop.com, and it's out there in the world, or you can get it on any streaming service you want.
And it's been great.
Yep.
Wait a minute. Where's my copy? You're the only one who gets one, Mike?
Here, it's on its way right now.
Well, guys, I think that's all the time we have for today. This flew by. How about we end this with a little Christmas #1 jam? You guys down?
Yeah, let's do it. That'd be a blast.
What you want for Christmas, didn't know it'd be this tough. Nothing I can buy would say enough. Every time that you're around me, I'm a kid on Christmas Eve, even though the feeling ceases when you leave. But if I write a song, we'd have the whole year long to keep the feeling of being together. So this year the Christmas #1 is for the only one I love. It's all for you, you're #1. If you hear me, then you're near me. You know this Christmas #1. We'll keep on singing when it's done. So here's the Christmas #1. If you hear me, then you're